track of every copy that we sell. I wonder which number you were.
I don't even remember. But I liked it. I think this was like, I don't know, like a year or something. I don't know. But anyway, you and this other guy, Noximation, inspired me to make my own like superhero thing called Atlas, and I'm still working on it. And I'm still struggling to like put the cover on this thing together. But I got the logo figured out.
Nice. That's key.
And I got the superheroes figured out. And I got the story figured out. I got everything figured out. I just gotta like, what's an eye-catching cover?
It's tough. It's a lot harder than you would imagine.
It is.
To make a cover. It has to be, and especially the first one, there's a lot of pressure because it has to be iconic. That's the one everybody's gonna read. It's the one that you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
So I definitely understand you.
certainly brain picking, and I've been like, oh yeah, let's draw this superhero, and I'll put them on the cover. I'm like, wait a minute. Nah, I need another one. I need another, and I keep drawing more, and I'm like, okay, the story follows these people, but now there's all these background people, and I have to figure out what to do with them.
Just remember, it's really tempting as an artist to like, add everything and make everything perfect. My advice though, if you want to like complete a body of work, sometimes you just gotta be like, that works and let's move on,
Yeah. It's just
There's a lot of moments like that in these books, like where, like, I don't want to say I cut corners, but like the artwork, I'm just like, yeah, let's keep it moving so it's at least finished, you know what I mean?
yeah. One of my biggest problems has been the artwork itself, because okay, so stupid. One of my biggest problems is, like I've been practicing drawing a whole lot. My biggest problem right now is coloring. Right, I've got like the drawing down, but the coloring is really what's killing me.
Oh yeah, coloring is a whole can of worms.
So it's just like, I don't want to do the entire thing in black and white either, because the color's a big part of it. So I'm just stuck in that middle area.
Yeah, coloring is tough. Honestly, I mean my book is black and white just because like my priority was to get the story done and get it out there. I figured I could probably color it later on, because if we had colored this, we would have probably have half the books released. So like for me, like I mean I did go to school like for painting and drawing and coloring and all this other stuff, but for me, like the important thing was like, let's make something doable. So I had to kind of eliminate the color for me. A lot of really good big comic books aren't colored actually. Like Scott Pilgrim was a big inspiration of mine, and those books didn't even get colored for quite a while. So I figured, color is nice, but if it's gonna slow me down to the point where I'm not getting books released, then we might have to cut it and color it later. You could always color stuff later,
Yeah.
if that's like a big hurdle for you. But because color theory, it's like it's a whole it's a whole thing.
My motto for color theory is color theory, where orange is actually blue.
Yeah, it's like so crazy. I matter of fact, I don't even color the covers. One of my college friends, she actually did the colors for me. She's a lot better at it than me, and I like this is the cover should be the priority because it's what everybody sees. Not everybody's gonna read the insides. So yeah, I don't really even color those. Just yeah, it's good to kind of know your strengths and weaknesses, because you can kind of, and it's easier for me to just pay her to do the covers instead of like getting somebody to color all the interiors, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be expensive.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, so in your videos, you say that Legend of Zelda, Gravity Falls, and Attack on Titan are your inspirations for this. What's the one thing I was confused about was the Attack on Titan part. What part of the books are inspired from that?
Yeah, it's a good question because a lot of people probably think like, well, this looks nothing like Attack on Titan at all, you know.
Yeah.
But the reason that I say that is just because, well, when I was in high school is when I first watched it, and I'd never seen a story where like humans are up against these beings that they can't really fight back against. That these like they're like humans but better, like basically giant zombies that are almost impossible to kill, and they're kind of pushing humanity, like they're kind of suppressing humanity because normally we're like we have dominion over all animals and we're the dominant species. So I found the concept of these monsters like dominating us to be a very fascinating concept, and a lot of really good conflict. I loved that the story foreshadowed itself, and it kind of felt like the writer had the ending at the beginning of the series already. I don't like when I'm watching or reading something and you can kind of feel that the writer is making it up. It kind of breaks the illusion. So my favorite type of stories are the ones where the author had a vision and you're just reading his story. So that's the thing about Ivan's Quest. I took definitely inspiration with the Night Spawn, which are these like they're like demons or goblins. They're in the story. They come in different shapes and sizes. Some of them are small, some of them are big, and they're definitely inspired by the Titans. They're these humanoid creatures that don't communicate, that they you don't know what their purpose or what their goals are. They're just this enigmatic zombie-like characters. And there's the characters that fight them back. I mean, there's magic, so that's where the Legend of Zelda kind of aspect comes in. It's also not quite as futuristic as Attack on Titan, with jetpacks and grappling hooks and all that type of stuff. So that was one of my main inspirations was Attack on Titan. I'm not aiming to recreate the feel of it or the look of it. I'm more so talking about the way that the story was told. That's really what my main inspiration was for Ivan's Quest.
It was a very comprehensive answer.
Thank you.
I,
Yeah, I mean, I give it a lot of thought. Some people have asked me that before, and I guess it's like you wouldn't know that it's inspired by it by looking at it. But if you read it and you knew, because you got to remember, I know way more about the story than anybody else. So even in reading all six of them, you still might not get the full inspiration of what I'm going for yet, since the story is incomplete.
yeah, I honestly, from what oh. I'm still a little speechless because, like I said, you're a huge inspo for me. So
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I would love to inspire other people. Some people have said that like they start comic books, or they've started their own series and stuff. It's one of the things you don't really think about when you're drawing stuff, that you could inspire people, because you probably see a crazy guy like me like posting every day about this cartoon, and you're like, well, I mean, he's doing it, why not try it myself? And that's the cool thing. That's a cool contribution that I'm doing, and I'm really happy to hear that it inspires people. And I hope that more stuff gets created as a result, because we need more original stories in the world.
yeah, I feel that, yeah, because like I said earlier, having DC and Marvel be the only two major kind of things is a little stale, especially
Yeah, I
because
mean,
like people
oh, go ahead.
want to do original stuff, so maybe they even get like hired by Marvel and they want to do something original, and then they make this cool character, and then of course it gets like siphoned into the MCU machine, and then they get like killed off as a background character and never brought up again.
That's a tricky thing, and a lot of people ask me like, why don't you try to submit this to a publisher? Why don't you try to, and there's other publishers, that'll publish graphic novels, and they'll pay you or give you a team of people. Um, but honestly, I'm a control freak, and the more people that you get involved in the project, the more control control, the more control is lost, and your voice is slightly muffled a little bit. So I keep everything Ivan's Quest completely free from all outside interference. I don't want like publishers to change the story or to suggest things. I'm very happy publishing this independently. I literally, my whole workflow, I draw it in my iPad. I get a printing company called Spin Print, very good company. They print these out. I buy them in bulk and I ship them from my home. I don't need a bookstore. I don't need anybody publishing, and I'm doing all the marketing, which is the great thing about social media. Is what I've learned about selling stuff. Because as an artist, we all hate the word marketing. We all hate the word sell.
Yes.
I'm gonna just tell you this. You just have to reach like the right people. That's pretty much it, and that's what social media allows you to do. So you can do everything totally independently, and you can make money doing this. You just need a little bit of insanity, to relentless insanity to do it.
Thing I am probably I have a surplus of insanity. I have this actually where it all started was this little guy named Pip. He's a little oval dude with a jacket, small little V for a big gooby eyes, and baseball hat, and he was like my personal Mickey Mouse pretty much. And because I thought he probably isn't as good as an idea, or at least as stealable of an idea as I think he is, but still, I was so protective over him, it kind of like spun me into the entire, like, it's my stuff, and I don't let anyone else touch it. Yeah, so, and actually, on my channel, the V and the two dots, that's his face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I felt like it was really simple and recognizable face to have on a little cute character. And my first ever comic thing that I did was Pip in the Quest for Crime, where he's so lucky he can't get in trouble. His entire thing is trying to see how far that ability can go.
That's cute.
So, but since then I've got like, the Absolute Kill List, the Chronicles Kodak Crater, and now Atlas, and I'm still like very not trustworthy of like anyone else to do it right, which is both a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, that's definitely how it is. Like if you want it, but it all depends on your vision. Because ultimately, like what you're trying to do, like if you take away all the artistry of it, you're trying to create a product which is like something that people will read or something that they will watch. And being as you're the person with all the ideas in your head, it's more your like job to problem solve. Like how am I going to bring this into reality? What is it going to look like? Who's going to draw it? That type of stuff. Those are the questions. And for me, personally, I've been wanting to make stories. Obviously, like that's my passion in life. And I drew it, I illustrated it, and I wrote it. But honestly, I wouldn't really mind paying somebody. Like the goal for me is to be more of in a director's role where I could pay somebody to actually do the art, because my art is certainly not bad. But it's definitely like not as professional as I would want it to be. So, but the reason that I draw it myself is just because I can't pay an artist to do it right now. I can't pay somebody to write my story. I can't pay for somebody to edit the story, so that's the type of like, that is my problem solving, like as how am I going to get Ivan's Quest out? Like, how am I going to get people to read the story?
I'm also in a place where I am not in a financial position to hire any helping hands.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive.
Oh my god.
You're talking like 10 grand, minimum for a book for an artist, just the art, it's like nobody really has that to invest in.
And I wanted to start an animation, so like, if you want to hire someone to help animate you,
Animation is the last step, in my opinion, unless you have the money or the team, to help you with that. Obviously, I went to school. I kind of mentioned I went to school for animation, so I'm an animator actually, and I love animation. That's really, really what I want to do. But I just, again, is my problem solving. Like I'm like, I need to get the story out so people can read it and know about it. Versus if I spend like a year and a half making like a 10-minute cartoon, I'd rather have all the story out. We can animate it later. We can color it later. Like the important thing is like if your story, if people like the story, if people know it exists, that's really the starting point for all these other things. Then you can have movies, cartoons, or whatever once you have the clout, because one of the most valuable resources is like people's attention. Even if you make something that's not that good, or like if you make something that's in weird taste, if people like it and are watching it, people are going to fund it because they all want a piece of the pie. The hardest thing is building up the brand. The more people know about what you're doing, the more clout it has, the more it commands respect. And so I'm not going to really get rich selling these books. Like these books, I don't really even make that much. And honestly, to be totally like blunt, we haven't even really broken even with Ivan's Quest, and we've sold hundreds of them. Every penny I make from Ivan goes back into Ivan. We haven't really seen a penny. I've invested a lot of money into it, and I'm happy to do so because the more books go out, the more people follow me, the more people are going to respect the name of it. They're going to be like, well, people like it, people are following it. That is how you really make things, is the brand. So, and at least that's my philosophy as like where I'm at right now.
I feel that. I feel that. I haven't. One of these days, I'll make some money off of my stuff, but
It's tough. It really is. Like, believe me, um, the amount of times, like, I'll kind of mention briefly, we went to this convention where I was selling my books, and I know a guy who actually does this and is pretty successful with it. But the amount of rejection that we got at that convention was like astounding, and it's very hurtful. The amount of rejection we get online, is very hurtful. But at the end of the day, like that's really what it's all about. It's just about like how badly do you want this to be successful? Like eventually somebody's gonna like it, no matter what it is. It's just that's the nature of humans. So
there's
um,
always an audience
don't
for it.
yeah, just grow the audience, and you will make money. It's really not about like is what I'm doing good. It's more like how hard have I worked for that sale. Because another thing that I learned, like I'm giving a lot of, I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm trying to like give whatever wisdom that I have. Some people have asked me, these questions, so it's kind of good to have it here. Um, but the way that you make sales in general is people hardly remember your product. People buy stuff because they like you. So I know for a fact, a lot of people have bought my book just because they just find me on the FYP on YouTube or whatever, and they're just like, "Hey, this guy's kind of weird. Like he makes his own comic book, he posts about it every day. Let me buy one." You remember me. You might not remember the characters, you might not remember the story, but you remember me, and you know who I am. So that's really how you grow online. Unless if your stuff is insanely good and it can sell itself, you're in a different category. But guys like me, we're not like making the most amazing, mind-blowing art. We need to rely more on our ability to put ourselves out there, because when I was making Ivan's Quest, I was posting it online on Instagram, and nobody was really paying attention to it, and I wasn't even really selling it back then. I just was hoping people would find it and like it. It's not how it works. I didn't really want to be a known person. I just wanted to be a behind the scenes type of guy. But once I started putting myself out there, that is when using my voice, using my face, that's when everything really, really started going. And let me tell you, we've gotten insane support because people have liked what I put out. We get fan art. People have asked people have asked us have our books in in their school library. We've gotten like offers to be in book fairs, and this is all because people see me and they want to just support what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
I swear, man. I mean, at this rate, you're gonna be the next Frank Miller.
Oh God, I don't know. I'm trying to see how far I can push this by force of will. Like to me, failure on this is really not an option at this point. Like quitting or giving up on it or like throwing in the towel it's just not an option for me anymore. I never really thought about, people in your whole life, you watch movies, dreams come true, right? Like dreams come true if you really believe. And I never really gave much thought to that. I thought that's just something that people tell children or something. But, you know, after having done all the things that we've done in the past year, I really started thinking more about that. And I'm like, well, do dreams really come true? Can I make money off art? Can I make money off my cartoons and what I've always wanted to do since I was a child? And I'm now in it for the long haul. I want to know, is that possible? I want to know, can I make it? And at the end of my life, I want to know that I tried and that did my best to make it successful. And that's really what it is about. Ivan's quest is George's quest to make Ivan's quest successful. you know?
Oh, that'd be great. When you finally get famous, your own autobiography, George's Quest.
George's Quest, yes, we already have that on there.
Oh, seriously?
Well, I mean, I just it's a meme in the community. People just say it's George's Quest.
That's pretty funny. All right, so if you don't mind, so we've gone over like your comic and your process for that. But what about like you personally? Would you be open to some more personal questions?
Yeah, ask away. I'm an
Nothing
open book.
too invasive, I promise.
Yeah, go ahead. No, we're good.
In my interview with the Jackson Field, some of these questions, I mean, I don't think they landed wrong, but just because of his specific answers to the questions, it was like there wasn't really an answer that didn't feel like invasive. I felt really bad because here's an example. What were some impactful early life moments? And he was like, wow, so hopefully this isn't like a something that brings up bad memories.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's pretty much like whatever bad stuff happens in your life really it builds character. Good. If you live your life in a bubble and nothing bad ever happens to you, you rarely feel the desire to do anything. But like when I was a kid, some impactful things in my life. Or I don't even know, I guess early on in life. I'll start with a cheesy one, but I'll tell you the story about how I wanted to actually be in animation. I was a really troubled kid. I guess this will answer kind of everything. I was a really troubled kid. I was very sick as a little boy. I was in the hospital quite a lot. I had autoimmune disease, and I'm healthy now, but it was very hard to go like middle school and to get all these treatments. There was a really painful moment that I remember that I like talking about it because it's just my life has changed so much. I had to go to the doctor every month to get like an IV. It was called hemoglobin treatment because my blood was not healthy. And it's kind of something hard to understand when you're a kid. My dad would go with me, pull me out of school. I can't imagine what he was thinking to see me like with an IV and all that stuff. But I didn't really know because you're a kid, right? And I remember that all of a sudden, all these doctors flooded in and they were freaking out because apparently one of my lungs wasn't making the right sound, or I don't know. They put this like oxygen mask, like as if I was going to go scuba diving on me. And everybody was panicked and I was just confused. And I wasn't scared, but I was confused. And anyways, I was in this room where they, I guess they have like sick children, and I looked out to the door, which was half shut, and there was this little kid there. I was probably 12, and he was probably like 6 years old, something like that, little kid, and he was just kind of like looking in through the door because all the commotion, and I looked in his eyes. We looked at each other, and it's at that moment that I realized that there was something wrong with me, that I was sick, and that little kid was like normal, probably there for like a checkup or something. And that was a very painful experience for me, very painful. And I don't want to blame it on all this, but I was just really bad in school. Like I just didn't really do well. Maybe because I was troubled or because I was rebellious or something. So I never really tried in school, and I never even graduated from high school. So, anyways, when I was in school, though, I would be drawing on my notebooks and stuff. Like I was never doing schoolwork. I was always just doodling little characters and stuff. Same thing I'm doing now. But I didn't think in my head, I'm gonna be a cartoonist. I'm gonna do this. I just did it for fun. I was never really good, just drawing little characters. And I was a really like angry guy. I think probably because all the stuff that had happened to me when I was a kid. But one day, I went to my aunt invited me to Disneyland. I was like 18 years old, and still wasn't really that understanding of things. And I was just there being like a sourpuss, just being really angry and unlikable. And I wouldn't get on any of the rides. I didn't understand that she like graciously let me go with them. Anyways, we went on this ride, which was the Little Mermaid ride in California Adventure, and she convinced me to get on it. I went on that thing, and it's basically a little slow ride where they take you into this dark room where all these little dancing creatures and stuff, for children. And I just saw all the music and all the characters moving around, and I was really moved by it. I knew as an artist, every little thing was designed by somebody. Everything was placed there. Engineers had to come up with how it moved, just so that you could look at it for like 5 seconds on the ride, just in hopes that it would make you smile, or that, that really, really moved me. That like that's somebody's job, is to like create happiness or like a chuckle to a kid for like a few seconds. And it totally changed my whole. I almost got emotional on that ride. It was that deep. And anyways, we got off the ride, and my attitude changed the rest of the day. And I went home, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch that movie because I want to know like what the source material was. So I went and I bought that movie and I watched it, and I was blown away by the artistry, by the animation, by the color, the music. And it's at that point I realized that adults, that's their job, is to make cartoons. And I knew that day that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do cartoons from that day forward. And that's what started me going to art school or going to community college for art classes. That's what started me doing animation that day right there. So that's I guess that kind of answers